everyone. Welcome at Venture Cafe Thursday gathering Legal Technology. My name is Eva Geresh. I represent Venture Cafe Warsaw. The partner of today's event is British Embassy. So we prepared for you great content for today. Here with me is Kamila Kurkowska, who will moderate today's event. Please join me to the stage. We are both in Innovation Campus in Warsaw. You are welcome here once you visit Warsaw. We have really international crowd today, which is great. Before Kamila, I will give you the stage. I will just point out some tips. So now you can see chat and Q&A question, Q&A section. So you can talk here with all the participants. You can also click on the participants list, and you can send the message, private message, to the selected participant. And you can also use this Q&A section for asking some questions during the speeches or the debate. Kamila will moderate the debate, so I'm sure that she will tell more about that. So please don't hesitate to use the chat and Q&A session. After speeches and the presentation, we will come back to the networking mode. I'm sure that some of you could see the tables when you joined. So you can change the tables by double click on different tables, and once you switch on you are able to talk with people. You can also share your screen. So we would like you to feel like the real event, that you can change some tables and talk with people easily. Every table has a name. So if you would like to talk to the specific company or institution, please check it out and join the table. Kamila, the stage is yours.
Hello, Eva, and hi to everyone. Maybe first of all, I will present myself. I would say that I wear different hats. So one of my hats, I'm the president and the founder of Women in Law Foundation. I'm also a Polish ambassador of European Legal Tech Association, and also I'm head of content for the postgraduate studies, legal tech and legal innovation at SWSP University. And apart from that, I'm a real fan of legal technology and innovation and diversity. So every time when the word innovation or diversity will appear, so there are the issues that are very, very close to my heart. Maybe at the beginning, I will do an introduction why today we've touched the issue of the legal technology. According to the report Future Ready Lawyer 2021, legal technology, according to lawyers, is one of the three biggest challenges for them. From the other hand, only 77% indicates that that also it is a challenge for them and the legal technology, and also the amount of the information that they have to manage. There are these are two main trends. From the other hand, only 33% of the lawyers admit that their organization is well or very well prepared for the digital transformation. At the other side, we have their clients. I mean, the clients of the law firms. I mean, for example, the in-house lawyers. And the in-house lawyers say that only 51%, it means half of them, only a half of them are satisfied or very satisfied with the firm, with the law firm that provides legal services for them. Meanwhile, 24% heads of legal departments, they are planning this year to change the legal services provider, which it means the law firms. Why? Because they are not fulfilling their needs. So I think that that's the very important point in our today's discussion. And I would say that I would like to leave here the open question: if there is a space, or even better said, if there is a future for the lawyers who are reluctant to use technology in their today's job. Today we've invited, together with the partners of today's Thursday gathering event, which means the British Embassy, the Department for British Embassy in Warsaw, the Department of International Trade, Women in Law Foundation, and also European Legal Tech Association. We've invited a very, I would say, diverse group of legal tech experts. We will be able to listen to the experts from the United Kingdom, but also from let's say our part of Europe. I mean, from Poland and also from Central Europe. We will be able to see the point of view both from the institutions, both from the organizations that are supporting legal innovations, but also from the legal business, from the law firms, and also the point of view of one of the heads of legal of very big Polish firm. As Eva mentioned at the last part of the event, will be dedicated to networking. We've invited, together with the British Embassy, we've invited for this event legal tech startups, both from UK and also from Central Europe. We've chosen them carefully and to present to the attendees of today's event the variety of let's say legal tech sectors. If you won't be able, for example, this evening to talk with the firm that you are interested in, without any problem, you can contact British Embassy or me myself. We will leave with Eva from the British Embassy our contact data on chat. So if you would like to establish the contact with the legal tech startups that are present during today's event, please feel free to contact us. But nevertheless, please try to speak with them during the networking session. And the last issue that I would like to mention is that there will be also possible to talk with the representatives of today's partners in the section info tables. And you will be able to talk both with British Embassy, Department for International Trade, with the representative of European Legal Tech Association and also the representative of the university, and that's me, myself. So after that, I would like to say short introduction, but I don't know if it was short. I would like to invite for our stage Mr. James Hughes, who is the Minister Chancellor for Economic Affairs at British Embassy, Warsaw. James, the stage is yours.
Great, thanks very much indeed, Camilla, and a very good afternoon to you all, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to be here. I mean, start off with a thank you. So I'd first like to thank the Women in Law Foundation, Venture Cafe Warsaw, and colleagues both at the British Embassy Warsaw and the Department for International Trade in the UK for helping to organise this afternoon's event. I would also like to thank our British guest speakers who will be joining us later on, from the City of London Corporation and from Whitecap Consulting. I'm sorry to say that our colleague from the Ministry of Justice, who is due to speak, I think, immediately after me in the programme, is unable at short notice to join us this afternoon owing to a personal issue. But I hope that in future events, we'll be able to hear from experts from the Ministry of Justice. But by the power of technology, which is good because this is a legal tech event, I have some of the material that she was going to say. So if you'll permit me, Camilla, I will at an appropriate point in my introductory remarks, kind of veer off and go into a little bit as to what she was going to say from the Ministry of Justice perspective. But first of all, I mean, as we have trailed in the publicity on social media in advance of this event, this is the very first occasion, the very first event focused on legal technology that we are holding in Central Europe. And in some ways, this is quite a surprise because of the context and the root health of the sector, both in the UK and in Central Europe. And I'll start with the UK. I mean, the UK is host to the largest legal services market in Europe, and most people on the line today will not need telling that. It's also the hub of European legal technology, with UK legal tech startups making up almost half of all legal tech startups across Europe. And as you all know, the fundamentals, the data that underpins this growth is strong. The adoption of new technologies could more than double productivity growth in the legal sector from 1.3% per year to 2.7% per year. And legal tech is fueled by a global investment of over $1.6 billion. And so the UK legal tech sector is growing rapidly thanks to a unique mix of large tech and data science talent pools, world-leading law firms, and easy access to capital through financial markets. And to that end, I'm very pleased that, as well as the City of London Corporation and Whitecap Consulting, I'm very pleased and thankful that 8 innovative UK technology companies have been able to join us this afternoon and this evening. And I'm sure those of you, when we come to the networking portion of the evening, will have the opportunity to speak to them and for them to talk to you about their exciting solutions and services. And of course, the joy of this platform that I've noticed, having been taken around it in advance of this afternoon session, is that you can network. It's kind of bringing the best of both worlds. You are able to network in smaller groups, as you would do as if this was in person. But of course, it's also easier to extract yourselves from individual tables and move between the tables. So I would strongly encourage you to make the most of the opportunity this afternoon to get out, get around and speak to as many people as possible. Now, UK investment in law tech alone has increased 3 times in the past year, rising to £61 million. And were my Ministry of Justice colleague here this afternoon, she would have said that maximising the opportunity of new technology, of course, requires investment. And while much of this does come from the legal services sector itself, the UK government also believes strongly in supporting that investment. And that's why the UK government has invested £20 million to support innovation in the legal services, accountancy and insurance sectors. And this funding has created opportunities for businesses and researchers to collaborate in developing cutting-edge service solutions. And one project awarded through this scheme is being run by Oxford University, and they are taking forward a project on unlocking the potential of AI for English law. And the Ministry of Justice in the United Kingdom established the Law Tech UK panel 3 years ago. is to bring together leading experts who are working on addressing various challenges related to the use of technology in legal services work. And to take this one step forward, one step further, 2 years ago in 2019, the government committed just over £2 million across the period 2019 to 2021 to help support emerging law tech in the UK. And through this funding, Law Tech UK was established. Law Tech UK is a joint initiative between Tech Nation, the Law Tech UK panel, and the Ministry of Justice in the UK. And this initiative helps transform the legal sector through technology, with three clear objectives. Firstly, to build cross-sector awareness and understanding of law tech and providing a cohesive approach to information and training, to foster transformative innovation, encourage collaboration, and support new ways of delivering excellent outcomes for customers, and to provide cross-sector leadership, defining and shaping their technology-enabled purpose and future of legal services. And as part of the first year, the Law Tech UK programme delivered a pilot phase of a Law Tech sandbox, an online hub with a range of resources, tools, and courses on topics from AI to smart contracts, a project to explore building an online platform for SMEs to help resolve the £50 billion sized issue in late payments which arise each year, a set of digital dispute resolution rules to help enable rapid resolution of blockchain and crypto legal disputes, and remote courts worldwide, which is a platform to share learnings around remote alternatives to traditional court hearings. And we're now, as I said a moment ago, in the second year of this 2-year programme, and that will seek to build on the foundations I've just described and strengthen the UK law tech sector's visibility and reputation globally. So I've talked about the UK, time to talk now about Central Europe, and we can also see the legal tech market in Central Europe is expanding rapidly in response to growing demand, and we see that 3 of the 4 V4 countries, namely Poland, the Czech Republic and Hungary, are the top legal tech contributors in the Central Europe region. Now, for those of us who follow the tech sector more widely in this region, me and my colleagues in particular at the British Embassy, this is not a huge surprise. And many British businesses beyond legal tech in the wider tech sector recognise the potential of the region for tech talent, and they nearshore their operations here, both for the combination of a strong talent pipeline that we see throughout Central Europe and the geographic proximity to the UK. And around 2/3 of UK businesses with a footprint in Poland in the tech sector who were surveyed, admittedly before the pandemic, but they were surveyed, said that they had plans to scale up their presence in Poland. And UK investment in Central Europe amounted to almost £12 billion in 2019. On the other side of this relationship, of course, the number of UK businesses looking to scale up their operations in the UK is also constantly growing, taking advantage of the ease with which business can be set up, supported and grown in the UK, and the potential for the UK as a springboard for global growth. And the UK remains an attractive investment destination for those technology companies that seek capital for further international growth. 63% of investment into UK tech came from overseas last year, up from 50% 5 years ago. And according to Deal Room, just under $50 billion of venture capital was invested in UK tech companies in the last 5 years, which is more than France and Germany combined. The UK remains third in the world for the number of tech unicorns and is still number 1 in Europe, again, more than France and Germany combined. And last year, amid a global pandemic, of course, tech venture capital investment in the UK hit a record high of $15 billion, positioning the UK third in the world, behind the United States and China. And of course, I've just mentioned, and nobody can ever get through a speech these days without mentioning the small matter of the global COVID pandemic. And the pandemic has, of course, presented us with many challenges, personal and professional. And as we all seek to build back from the economic impact of the pandemic, strengthening our trade and investment is as important as ever. But as we also all know, the pandemic has brought some opportunities. The fact that I'm able to speak to you live from my house virtually just wouldn't have happened 18 months ago. We would have all been sat in some conference room or in the location where you are, Camilla, this afternoon. And so we've all had to rethink how we live, how we work, how we interact with each other, and how we best harness and maximize the benefit of technology. So while I've already mentioned the positive baseline in terms of our respective law tech sectors, the pandemic provides something of a catalyst in terms of demonstrating the value of tech in the legal sector. So today's forum demonstrates the importance of this region for the UK as a valuable business partner in the area of technology and innovation, and specifically in the law tech sector. Our meeting creates an excellent platform for sharing knowledge and for discussion about the impact of technology on the future of legal services. And I'm sure that this event will lead to many new connections and new opportunities, and part of what I hope will be a long-term dialogue between many of you in this session this evening. And as Camilla said in her opening remarks, if you are interested in speaking to my colleagues from the Department for International Trade and the British Embassy Warsaw, they will be there. They will be sat on their tables in the networking session in just over an hour's time. And also, Julian will also be delighted to talk to you as part of the networking session. So please feel free to reach out to them, ask any question you have of them, and make some connections. I'm not sure, I think I've overrun, apologies, but as I took over the Ministry of Justice slot time. But thank you very much for your attention, everybody, and I wish you a very successful and enjoyable evening. Back to you, Camilla.
James, thank you very much for that spot, for that indication. How is the legal tech market in the UK, and how the relations between UK market and the CE market, how they looks like. I'm always laughing. I don't know. Do you remember a film, Back to the Past? And sometimes when I'm talking to all British lawyers or the persons who know the legal market in the UK, I feel like from that film, that we here in Poland or generally in Central Europe, I think that we can benefit and for sure observe what is happening there. I mean, what is happening in the United Kingdom, and maybe to transfer some solutions to the Polish, to the Central European market. As I hope that I can say so, that somehow like as a continuation of the presentation that we've had the opportunity to listen and see. Now at the stage you will listen and see once again Julian Wells, the director of Whitecap Consulting, and Julian will continue the subject about the legal tech developments in the United Kingdom and the Northern powerhouse. Julian, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Great to be with you today. Thank you ever so much for the invitation, and thanks, James, for the introduction and your opening comments, because that was really helpful actually, and relates quite a bit to things that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to put some slides on the screen. I have to look at my my spare room. You can look at something a bit more interesting. Okay, so my name, as I say, my name is Julian Wells, and I'm a director at Whitecap Consulting based in the UK, and I'm going to talk to you about the legal tech developments in the UK, and specifically in the north of England, which is where I'm based. I'm sure that very few of you, if any, know anything about Whitecap Consulting. So just to let you know, we're a strategy consulting company. Our client base is typically sort of small, medium, and also some larger organizations, working with them on growth strategies. And we work with international clients who want to enter the UK market, helping with things like UK market analysis and market entry strategies. We do lots of work in tech sectors. We've done some research in legal tech recently, which I will talk to you about today. But we're very active in other areas of tech, in particular fintech. The map on the right shows the 6 locations in the UK where we have offices. Three of them are in the north, the northern powerhouse, in Leeds, Manchester, and Newcastle. We have one in Birmingham, one in Milton Keynes, and one in Bristol. But we're not based in London because our focus is on the rest of the UK outside of London. Just talk a little bit about the UK legal sector, and James has mentioned it and made some really great points. We have a really large legal sector in the UK, and it has a global angle to it. And over 200 foreign law firms have got offices in the UK. It's because it's a very large market and a very established market. Digital change has been coming to the UK and moving through the legal market, but it's probably been moving faster in other sectors. So the legal sector in the UK, although there is a lot of tech innovation, it's been slower to adopt than other markets. The rollout of technology within the legal sector is interesting in the sense that there are small but growing number of legal tech firms who are disrupting the market. I think James said that half of the legal tech startups in Europe are in the UK. It's still in the UK. It's a relatively small sector when you compare it to other areas, for example, fintech. But the transformation of the existing legal sector is something that is causing some challenges for law firms. It's an area that's drawing investment, but it needs cultural change and it needs working practice change, and perhaps some of that will come out today as we talk some more. Also, most of the tech developments that we see in the UK are focused on making the sector more efficient and making things run in a better, sort of lower cost way, rather than completely transforming things. To put some numbers on this, so the legal sector in the UK, it's worth nearly 32 billion. 350,000 people are employed, 33,500 organisations. Makes a very big contribution to the UK GVA, and I think, as James mentioned, the UK is the largest exporter of legal services in Europe. The map on the right-hand side just illustrates how that's distributed around the UK. And if you look at London, you can see that London is the epicenter of the UK legal services market. But you can also see that in some of those other locations around England and Wales and Northern Ireland and Scotland, there are some significant numbers of people employed in the legal services sector. And I will come on and talk about the North as part of my presentation, but this is not just about the North. The legal sector spreads right across the UK. I thought it would be helpful to give you an idea of some of the innovators that you'd find in the UK, so that you can see where some of the changes coming to the market. Seed Legals is a legal tech firm, that has created a platform for tech founders to manage their fundraising process through. So it's taken in many of the processes that would normally require lawyers to be brought in for, and put them into a tech-driven environment. Been very, very successful. A significant number of tech startups and scale-ups in the UK are using the Seed Legals platform, and that's causing Seed Legals, as it gets bigger, to start to cater for larger organisations as well. LegalZoom is another well-known legal tech brand in the UK, and LegalZoom has created a different way for organisations to access and individuals to access legal services by creating a lot of tech-driven templates, which are supplemented by the ability to speak to somebody if you want to, but if you don't want to, then you don't need to. So it's about making legal services more accessible and lower cost. And then this organisation called Third Fort is helping law firms with client identity and the anti-money laundering and compliance. Again, a process which historically would have been very manual. So those are three firms. Actually, those three firms are all based out of London. But I wanted to give you an idea of some of the areas of innovation of the legal tech within the UK. James also mentioned the Law Tech UK panel, which was co-created with Tech Nation a couple of years ago now, and this is a really interesting program. So this is aiming to support the accelerated digital transformation of the UK's legal sector. As part of the program, there was a sandbox created. The first 5 firms went through the Law Tech sandbox pilot earlier this year, and so this is an initiative which is not focused on law firms, but is focused on the innovators, the people that are trying to disrupt and change the sector. So it's a really key development, and if you're interested in exploring the UK market, I'd encourage you to have a look at the Law Tech UK web pages on the internet. To talk a little bit about the Northern Powerhouse, then, this is a big part of the UK. There are different estimates of how many people there are in the north, but it could be up to 17 million, which would make it a bigger region than 30 European countries. I mentioned earlier that the UK legal sector employs 350,000 people. 2/3 of that number are outside London, and 22% of them are in the Northern Powerhouse. Within the Northern Powerhouse, some of the key locations are Manchester, Leeds, Liverpool and Newcastle. Other cities that you might be aware of in the north would be places like York, places like Sheffield as well, and Bradford. Within the Northern Powerhouse, we have some really interesting legal tech firms and law firms as well. Radar is a very tech-orientated and modern law firm that makes significant use of technology, has created a lot of tech-based tools, offers some services on a subscription basis rather than a hourly rate, which is the way that legal services are typically sold in the UK, and has been used by McKinsey as an example of a transformative business within the legal sector. So this Radar is based in Leeds. Psych, who are part of the event today, so you have a chance to talk to later, is a legal technology consultancy based in Leeds, also with offices in Manchester and Bristol, and is working with organisations in the either law firms or in-house legal teams to help them to navigate the digital transformation process. The Link app, who I believe are also here today, are based in Manchester, and their service is all around secure communications with clients and being able to capture confidential information through secure channels. True Narrative is a legal tech stroke reg tech organisation based in Leeds, which is helps with the onboarding of customers and fraud prevention as part of that process. So one of the most important processes in particularly in the financial sector in the UK, but also one which can be quite inefficient historically. And finally, Flex Legal, who have a presence up in Manchester, but are actually based in London, are an organisation that's created a more flexible way to access legal skills and talent. So they have a database of people who want to do legal work, and organisations can go to them, and it's a bit like a temporary employment channel. Now that might sound like something that you would expect to exist, but it didn't before Flex Legal created it in the UK. And just finally, before I wrap up my talk, I wanted to talk to you about a report that we published, which focused on the legal tech sector in the Leeds City region. This was published last year, and I thought if I explained it to you, it would give you an example of how one of the regions in the north and one of the regions in the UK is constructed. You can see a lot of logos on the bottom of this slide. These organisations all supported this report and helped to fund the work that it involved. And there's a lot of the biggest law firms in the UK and indeed the world on the slide. The Leeds City region has an ecosystem of firms who are involved in the legal tech sector. And this graphic, I can't really present this in the time that's available, but across the top half of this graphic, you can see the providers of legal services. So we have large law firms, medium-sized law firms, SME law firms, barristers' chambers, and then also challengers and ABS firms. ABS is another legal vehicle via which you can provide legal services in the UK. I really don't have enough time to talk you through this in detail, but I'll just put it on to give you an idea of the number of organisations that are active in the legal sector in this region. The report pulled out a number of stats and facts and figures around the legal sector, but some of the most important ones are here in the bottom left-hand corner. Over 1,500 legal companies in this region, nearly 60,000 people are employed in legal services right across the north. About 25% of those are based in the Leeds City region, and 28 of the top 100 UK law firms have an office in the Leeds City region, 48 of the top 200. So I think what this shows you, and I could present a similar story for the other big cities in the UK, in the sense that it's not just about London. There are big legal tech economies right across the UK. So please don't think it's all about London. Leeds does have a disproportionately large legal sector with a lot of law firms. So that is something to bear in mind. And just to conclude, I wanted to flag some of the things we pulled out of the Leeds report around technology and innovation, because these are themes across the UK, not just in Leeds. So the law firms do tend to be followers and not leaders in tech adoption. And as I alluded to earlier, they do have problems with legacy systems. A lot of the funding that has been put into legal tech by law firms has been focused on automation, also cybersecurity. What you find in the Leeds region and in the north in general is that the legal tech companies tend to be providing services to the law firms rather than trying to provide services directly to consumers and SMEs. And most law firms now are outsourcing their tech in that sense, that rather than building things in-house. There are some barriers to working with law firms in the UK, or to the evolution of legal tech within law firms. The partnership model is still quite dominant in the UK market, and that creates decision-making processes which can be a little bit cumbersome and a bit slow, which don't always fit very well with tech companies that are trying to work with the legal sector. So if you're a legal tech listening to this and you want to work in the UK, it might not be a quick route to market for you. Just worth bearing that in mind. A lot of the innovations in the newer organisations in the sector, in terms of the legal tech and reg tech sector, it is quite small, but it's growing fast. As James said, like half of the legal tech startups in Europe are in the UK, but it is still a relatively small sector. A lot of the founders of these organisations have a legal background rather than a tech background. And as I've mentioned a couple of times, the focus does tend to be on efficiency rather than disruption. Things are at an early stage. I think there's a lot of opportunity in the UK. A lot of, as James mentioned, a lot of UK organisations see Central and Eastern Europe as a very strong market to work with for skills and capabilities. And I think there's opportunity to also come and enter the UK market, and to try and work with some of these many law firms who have some quite big challenges to address over the coming years. That concludes my slides. So Camilla, I think I'm handing back to you now. Thank you once again for having me today. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I'm delighted about this kind of events, that at the beginning we were in Warsaw, then we've gone to the northern part of the United States, United Kingdom, sorry, and now we are, I wanted to say we are coming back, but no, we are going to London. And what I would like to, my observations from your presentation was that you've mentioned about the obstacles that the legal tech has to develop in the British market. I think that it's not exceptional for the British market, and I deeply believe that maybe not the only, but one of the best ways somehow to convince all the partners, but also the lawyer themselves, to convince them about using technology is the education of the market. So as next speakers, I would like to invite for our stage two great personalities. Catherine McGuinness, the chair of the Policy and Resources Committee at the City of London Corporation, and together with Mary Kyle, head of Financial and Professional Services Technology at City of London Corporation. So once again, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you very much for that great introduction. And I must say, we are sitting, or at least I'm sitting in London. I'm not sure where Mary's sitting, but I would love to be in Warsaw at the moment and very much looking forward to the time when we can travel again. So, as you've heard, I'm Catherine McGuinness. I'm the policy chair at the City of London Corporation. I'm the political leader of the body which actually looks after the square mile itself in the heart of London, London's financial centre, after which the financial and professional services sector has been named. It's called the City because it started here, but in fact is now UK-wide, as Julian has really just pointed out. I'd like to start, and I'm joined by my colleague Mary Kyle, and I'll be introducing her more in a second and handing over to her indeed. But I'd just like to start by thanking the British Embassy in Warsaw for hosting today's event, and to say that I'm really pleased to be joining and speaking on a topic which, as a lawyer myself, a contract lawyer specialising in financial services law before I took over the current role, it's something that's very, very close to my heart. I think across all sectors, we've seen how the pandemic has led to rapid and wholesale changes in the way that we work, the way that we communicate, and the way that we support our customers and clients. We've come to rely on technology in a way that we have never done before. I mean, who among us could have foreseen the hours we spend each day now in virtual meetings talking to each other in this way? Indeed, I think we live almost the whole of our lives on screens if we want to these days. I've even seen the development of faith tech with people attending services and so on around the world on screen. In the legal sector, this digital transformation has been a long-standing trend with perhaps a slow burn which has suddenly been accelerated. And London, with its innovative ecosystem, has been front and centre of those changes. So in the UK, as Julian again mentioned, we're home to the largest legal services market in Europe, second only to the US worldwide. We have around 350,000 people employed in the legal sector in London and in hubs of expertise around the UK, and law firms from over 40 jurisdictions practicing here. Even before the pandemic, the sector was known for its dynamism and its ability to adapt, constantly developing new client services and alternative business structures to meet client needs. What I'd say actually is they have been expert at developing cutting-edge solutions for clients, cutting-edge business structures, but traditionally perhaps quite conservative in their own practices. But we've seen increasing development in the use of technology, matching some of the initiatives that we've seen across the financial professional services sector, but we've really seen an increasing use of tech in legal practice itself. Now, the UK has a business ecosystem that enables innovation to thrive. We have a unique mix of leading global talent, fantastic universities, supportive regulation, and a robust investment pipeline, meaning that this is a place for technology, be it fintech, regtech, law tech, or whatever other tech you like, to grow, scale, and integrate with the market. And law firms are now heavily invested in the sector, launching incubator tech hubs and partnering with software developers to create custom products. Recent years has seen tremendous growth in law tech, with unprecedented opportunities for law tech startups in the UK. In 2019, over £61 million was invested in law tech, and that was a rapid rise over just 2.5 million in 2016. So I said I thought it was a slow burn that has suddenly accelerated, and I think that's right. For law tech, the UK's ecosystem offers incubator and accelerator programs for growth, close relationships with other sectors such as financial services, tech clusters, and offices close to big tech companies. We have all the big tech firms here as well, and we have a wealth of trade bodies and regulators who can provide advice, such as Law Tech UK, the Solicitors Regulation Authority, Legal Geek, and Nesta. Use of technology is creating a legal sector that's more open, more accessible, and more transparent than ever. Firms and customers alike are benefiting from greater efficiency, more flexibility, and a sector that's more responsive to customer needs. And at the City Corporation, we're working to support this innovation across the legal sector and across the UK, as Julian points out, given the strengths that there are outside London. We're not just about the sector in London. And what we're doing is we're approaching this from both ends, helping law techs to scale and develop, and helping law firms and in-house teams to accelerate digital adoption and transformation. We've run several sessions as part of our tech mentoring series, and we'll be running a startup to scale up matching event at Legal Geek this autumn. We also created and chair a law tech sounding board, a valuable cross-sector forum for sharing and exploring ideas with representatives from government, technology, and across the profession. And one idea that we developed through that group was an Innovation Ambassadors programme, a programme which we hosted for the first time last year alongside KPMG, and intended to empower champions of innovation across the sector. Camilla, you mentioned the need to educate lawyers, and I think that's absolutely right. I remember from my own time as library partner in my firm and having to encourage some of the senior partners then about the importance of giving lawyers access to the internet. Now that may seem strange in the modern age, but I had some work to do. So champions of innovation are really vital, I think, for driving things forward. Many of the ideas generated really focused on the theme of collaboration. Collaboration not just within firms, but across the ecosystem, and really importantly, between lawyers and clients. And collaboration, which I suggest actually should also exist across borders too, given the clients that we serve, the customers that we serve operate across borders. All of the concepts developed in the programme have been published as part of a broader report, which is available on our Global City website. And in a second, I'll try to plant a link to that in the chat. We're hoping to run a second iteration of our Innovation Ambassadors Legal Innovation Programme with an increased focus on technology. And I really look forward to the ideas that come out of that, because the energy that came out of the last one, last programme, was really exciting. And really just underlined for me what an exciting time this is for tech and innovation, including in the legal sector. And I'm now going to hand over to the City Corporation's Head of Financial Professional Services Technology, Mary Kyle, herself another lawyer, to tell you more about our work in this space. So thanks for listening to me. Mary, over to you.
Thank you, Catherine. Yes, we are everywhere, and I hope everyone can hear me well. Please do put something in the chat if you can't. As mentioned, my role at the City Corporation is as Head of Financial and Professional Services Technology. So law tech is a big part of that, but it also means I take a really broad look at how we can go about helping the integration of technology across financial and professional services. And with that sort of broader remit, I wanted to talk today about the role of law tech and the opportunities for law tech to support an innovative ecosystem that actually goes beyond the legal sector, and how some of the work we do has highlighted the potential for law tech to really drive innovation much further than you may think. I'll make three short points. The first one is really looking at law tech, as I say, as a general catalyst for innovation. Now, the Law Tech Sounding Board that Catherine mentioned just now, we find is a really interesting melting pot of diverse thoughts and ideas. It brings together completely different people from across the law firm. So whether it's a corporate partner, IT director, head of innovation, or the head of an accelerator within the law firm, so you get all the different perspectives from within a law firm about how they approach innovation. But just as importantly, it brings together alternative legal service providers, the law tech community, government, regulators, and really importantly, in-house counsel, who all have such a different perspective on the role of law tech in their different ways of working in their organizations. And it's interesting seeing the role that in-house counsel can play here, in some ways perhaps as a bit of a Trojan horse within organizations to really push tech development, innovation within their organizations. And as I say, I look at fintech a lot as well in my work, and I think that sometimes law tech is almost seen as a younger sibling to the fintech movement. We all engage with fintechs on a day-to-day basis, whether it's via mobile apps or banking online or whatever it may be, whereas law tech is often seen to be some way lagging behind fintech. But what we also see is that law tech can be a really impressive driver for change in financial services and other areas. Now, one of the areas that comes up a lot when we're talking amongst our law tech sounding board about barriers to innovation is the use of cloud technology. I'm sure this will chime with here today. When we spoke to them in the early days of the sounding board, we used to say, what is your problem with selling your product to the law firms? And they would come back and say, well, there's a real reticence or concern about using products or services that are based on the cloud. And we would go to the law firms and say, why do you have a problem with using these products and services? And they would actually say, well, it's not us, it's actually our clients. And in particular, our financial services clients a lot of the time, who are very happy sort of using cloud technology for their internal processes and work, but definitely not so comfortable or confident employing cloud in a way that will allow for the transport of information or data externally from the organization. And this was really sort of hampering the development of law tech within the legal firms and more widely. But what's been really positive here is that a number of law firms have actually taken the initiative and essentially adopted, if you like, a strategy, writing out to their clients saying, from this point on, we will be using these products and services, we will be putting information on the cloud. And that really shows the strength that law tech and the legal progress in other sectors and other areas. It's enabling this cutting edge technology that had previously been sort of hampered at the initial stage of getting into the law firms to not only reach to the law firms, but much more widely. And so I think it's really important for us to remember the full potential that legal innovation has across the ecosystem. Now, my second point is in relation to improving market readiness, and as Catherine referred to, this was also referenced by way of education. And the Innovation Ambassadors Programme that Catherine's mentioned and that we ran really does go to this point. What we wanted to do was to increase the openness, the understanding of legal tech and innovation, again, not just within law firms, but within in-house counsel, within the regulator and others, so that they can really be open to innovation and new technology as it comes through. Now, we brought together 55 participants to that programme over sessions that took 4 weeks in total, 5-6 hours a week. And again, it's similar mix to the Law Tech Sounding Board, all that different sort of melting pot of people from across the legal industry working together. And they did work together. What we'd noticed when we were scoping out for this programme was that there are lots of different courses you can send a lawyer on to learn perhaps about blockchain or AI, and also lots of firms who have their own internal innovation courses. But what was really lacking was for an opportunity to bring people from different firms, different organisations together to learn together. And it was great to see how positive people were around this, how keen people were to meet like-minded lawyers or others with an interest in innovation. And they worked together in terms of going to power hours about data analytics and such like, but they also work together as teams in a tech sprint to come up with their own solutions. And that sort of galvanized relationships. And the most important part about the program was that we sought to send people back into their organizations with a new understanding and a heightened expectation of the art of the possible in relation to innovation, and how they can not only sell that into their organization, but share that information. We've actually just carried out a 6-month follow-up from the course, and I'm delighted to say that I think it was over 80% of participants said that they had shared their learnings and their work from the course with their organizations more widely. And that's exactly the kind of openness and movement that we want to try and facilitate, getting people just thinking about innovation more in their day-to-day. And as Catherine already mentioned, that other end of the spectrum, my third point was around building a pipeline. This is looking at the tech end. Law tech can't operate in a vacuum. Now, it's all very well, fantastic idea, finding that pinch point or that problem statement that you want to solve as a lawyer, but it's only going to get so far as the real market need can show. And again, what we're trying to do with our next iteration of the Innovation Ambassadors Programme is bring in the tech community, bring in the law tech, so they get that opportunity to really understand the market that they're ultimately trying to serve, making sure that they are developing a product that there is a real need for. And similarly, the Legal Geek Programme with the mentoring, we hope that will be a chance for the sort of more startup end of the scale to really learn from those law techs that have fully scaled up. And really, I just want to, as a final point, reiterate what Catherine already said about collaboration, because at the heart of any innovative ecosystem is collaboration. And that's why it plays such a big role in the work that we do. It is collaboration between different firms, collaboration between firms and their providers, the firms in the tech sector, across the tech sector. There's just so many opportunities. And in the post-pandemic world, in many ways, we've seen barriers fall away for collaboration, because we spent a year and a half not being together and collaborating, but it also gives rise to the opportunity to both worlds in the post-pandemic era, where we can come together and meet physically, but also build on this virtual to facilitate and grow since the COVID pandemic. So thank you very much for listening to us today, and I hope that this has been useful and given you some ideas for how you can take some of your thinking around the role of law tech and nurturing an innovative ecosystem going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much for a great presentation. Now we are going to move to another part, to the debate, why to invest in legal tech and the pandemic and the legal tech. The moderator of the debate is Camila. So Camila, the stage is yours. Please invite your wonderful guests for today.
Thank you, Eva, and thank you very much, Catherine and Mary, for your presentation. It was really interesting to see how the institutions in the UK, they are supporting the idea of innovation and legal tech. Frankly speaking, I really hope that in the near future, we here in Poland, or generally in the Central Europe, we will also be able to somehow to develop similar projects here to foster the innovation and growth in the legal tech sector. So right now, I would like to invite and to present my panelists. So the first panelist is Agnieszka Dek-Tyburska, who is the General Counsel of Polpharma Group. Hello, Agnieszka.
Hello, everybody.
I've invited Agnieszka because, let's say, like that she would be like a voice of a business, I mean voice of clients, and how the legal interested and I would like to ask Agnieszka how this business will be developing, and if it is worth to invest in legal tech. So Agnieszka, please be prepared. My second guess that you have. My second guess that you've already had the opportunity to know is Mary Kale, once again, Head of Financial and Professional Services Technology at City of London Corporation. Hello, Mary.
For having me. Double act for me today.
And the third panelist, who I would like to invite to our stage is Tomasz Prus, Best Delivery Advisor from Clifford Chance.
Good afternoon.
Do we have Tomasz on stage?
Yes, I'm here.
I can't see him.
Do you hear me? I feel like I'm here,
so
but I'm not sure.
we will wait. And
He's there. He's there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
So we will wait, and in the meantime, I will present the last of the panelists that also you have already known, Julian Wells, the director of Whitecap. Hello, Julian, and we've invited Julian because we also want to have a vision from outside of London, and also Julian has a great experience in both in legal tech but also in a fintech sector, as we've heard, and I really like that that description that the legal tech is the younger siblings of the fintech. Well, I don't know why we don't have on stage Julian and Tomasz. Maybe Eva, if you can hear me, if you could help us. Tomasz is on the stage, and I can't see Tomasz. Can you see Tomasz?
Yes.
Yes.
I see myself.
So I don't know why I can't see them. One moment, please.
Can any of you guys sing?
Not that well.
Okay. Keep the audience amused.
We have really nice audio effects here, right? So the car is moving around.
Yeah.
Well, perhaps we should start without Camila. There is so many things to be discussed today.
Hopefully she'll be back soon.
Exactly.
I can't see Camilla in the list of participants at all.
Yeah, so, you know, we briefly discussed.
It says
Yeah,
she's
go
on
ahead.
stage now.
Maybe she's
I
just
don't know.
making her way through.
Yeah, must be about to appear.
So we briefly discussed with Camila, you know, today's topic. So, oh, something's happening.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So sorry for that. I didn't know why I couldn't, at the beginning, I could see only Agnieszka and Mary, and it wasn't a discrimination. Sorry for that, Julian and Tomasz. So, so we can start. I've presented to all my panelists, and I would like to start with the first question. I don't know if we can say that we are already living in a post-pandemic world. I'm not sure about that, if there is a pandemic still or not. But hopefully, at least I believe that our society or the institutions on generally international society, we've managed to somehow control the virus. And my question to you is, what are your observations and what are your thoughts about generally about the legal sector and the technology in the legal sector, but from three perspectives? I mean, from the past, how it was, and how it was in your case before the virus, how it is or it was during the pandemic, and what do you think will be the future of the legal and legal tech sector? Maybe Agnieszka, if you could start, I would be very grateful.
Okay, thank you again, and thank you for invitation. So maybe I will start with the information that we are the biggest manufacturing company of pharmaceuticals, not only in Poland, but we have manufacturing sites in Kazakhstan, Russia. We are present in Ukraine, in other markets. And I personally am general counsel, and I have almost 65 professionals that I manage. There are lawyers and also IP lawyers. So although we are a manufacturing company, I have quite a big legal team to manage. So almost like a middle-sized law firm for Poland. And frankly speaking, we're interested in legal tech even before. And we're trying to convince our company that it's important really to invest, because we need to collaborate with third parties. We need to concentrate on efficiency, on innovation, and risk management. But frankly speaking, we're not heard well at that time, because obviously we are just the cost to the company. We are not, providing profits. But actually, pandemia was a catalyst for us, because suddenly, we couldn't sign agreements with third parties. We had to implement DocuSign really very quickly. Also, one of the processes was really efficiency, and we couldn't check ourselves by ourselves. So we've asked third parties, like business consultants, to do actually analysis of our efficiency as the legal team, how we can improve, what else we could do, and actually information what is available elsewhere. Actually, our consultant was based in France. So they've used like international technology and international approach. And that was really helpful for us as lawyers to demonstrate that in a way we are efficient. We have, a few steps to improve, but that was actually very good use of technology that we didn't have. The next catalyst was really our innovative program for the company. It was called Leonardo, from Leonardo da Vinci. And it was also, very good platform for us, because everybody from the company could actually place their ideas on the platform. And our lawyers were not shy. We also submitted through ideas to the platform, and they are under the consideration. So it's still, it's still confidential. It's still in the early stage, but we hope that we'll be able to have really great program that also the company will benefit from that, and our internal business partners. So I think it's a paradox, but without pandemia, we wouldn't be so advanced, and we wouldn't be important, business partner for our IT department, because usually, commercial team, R&D, or others, they were really the important partners for our IT. Now we are having monthly meetings, and for the first time, really, IT is listening to us what we need, because it's not just for us, it's for the company, it's for the processes, for litigation, for the documents, implementation, and etc. So it actually helped us.
So if I understand well, you've benefit from the pandemic.
From this perspective, yes.
Yeah, thank you. And Julian, what is your perspective?
So I think if I look at kind of the before, during, and after, I think before the pandemic in the UK, the legal market was being very slow to make changes, was tied down with very traditional ways of undertaking certain processes. There was a reliance on things happening face to face, an over reliance on paper documents and needing to sign things, and just an acceptance that a lot of things needed to happen, like hearings needed to happen in a face-to-face environment. And then I think during the pandemic, obviously things changed very quickly, and there was a need to find new ways of working, otherwise the world was just going to stop. There was a stat that I was looking at that said within 4 days of the pandemic, within 4 days of lockdown in the UK, 70% of hearings that went ahead were taking place via video. And after 5 weeks, that it was 90%. There was a huge acceleration in a rollout of a program to put video technology into courtrooms that I think accelerate. I forget the exact dates, but it was going to be a program that was going to start in 2022 and was going to take 5 years to roll out. And they just started the rollout straight away, and it'll be complete within 18 months or something like that. So during the pandemic, a lot of things changed. Where signatures were being required on documents, people were adopting electronic signature software quite quickly. I was hearing stories of law firms who were not. Some law firms were already ready to work remotely, and their staff could work using things like Teams, but many others weren't. I heard stories of people driving computers out to their staff, so taking computers from the offices, putting them in a car, driving them to their house, so the staff could work from their house, because they couldn't get laptops to give them laptops fast enough. So there were a lot of changes like this. So some firms were ready, some were not, and things just had to accelerate. And then I think coming out of the pandemic and looking forward, obviously a lot of lessons have been learned, and a lot of the tech-enabled processes will stay tech-enabled, and a lot of things that people thought couldn't be done in electronically just now will be as a matter of default. But I think what we'll see is a period of transition, because as the world gets back to more of a kind of hybrid way of operating, where you can do things face-to-face or you can do them electronically, the legal sector needs to adjust and find the right way to deal with each situation. And that includes the way that you run law firms or legal organizations, and how much do you expect people to be in the office, and what's the impact on training lawyers if they're not in a face-to-face environment all the time, and things like that. So I think there'll be some cultural challenges over the next couple of years as we adjust to what people now understand a lot better can be achieved through technology.
Thank you for your thoughts, Julian. And Tomasz, could you say us some more things about the issue? But before that, I would like you to present yourself and tell a few words about your function, that all of us could have a better view and a better understanding of your background.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Of course, my role is not, very common. So this question is absolutely legit. I mean, I am the best delivery advisor. So best delivery program is something new on the legal market. Clifford Chance globally invented the way we can, streamline the way we deliver it to our clients. And, my role is mainly about change management. So, I'm trying to figure out which elements of our work, in Warsaw office, but also globally, which we can streamline, and how we can improve our services, how we can improve comfort of our clients in many different ways. I will probably say a few words about it later on. So, from my perspective, getting back to your question, Camila, it is like, as you probably can imagine, as Clifford Chance, we started investing in legal tech many years ago. So we have really rich databases and really rich records with use of our technology, and we can compare how we use it year by year. And we also see a significant increase in those numbers. So it doesn't matter if you consider tools like collaboration platforms or platforms for secure file sharing with clients, or if you consider the applications we use to streamline the way how we review our documents, like Kira, using, for instance, machine learning. In all of the cases, we see a significant increase in numbers. I can only agree, with Agnieszka and Julian. We had the similar situation here. So I think I don't want to say that it's because of the pandemic we see this huge progress, but I think that all things related to pandemic, like lockdowns, like restrictions, like work from anywhere, it's actually accelerated certain processes. And today our lawyers and our clients see more benefits when they're using technology. So yeah, I think that if we compare the period before the pandemic and the reality that we have now, yeah, I see the huge progress here. And I also think that many of those features, I would say, will stay with us for good, even if we can say that pandemic is behind us. I think that clients will not want to let go all those nice platforms and all those features that save so many time and efforts for them.
Thank you, Tomek. Mary, what are your thoughts about the issue that we've already discussed?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what everybody else has said, which won't be a surprise. But when I was thinking about this, I have a really crass swimming analogy. But I think pre-pandemic, you had lots of lawyers sort of paddling, if you like, in the shallow end as far as technology innovation is concerned. Nothing risky, really, keeping it all quite low key. And then the pandemic came along, and it was the equivalent of everyone getting chucked in at the deep end, to be honest. And it was literally sink and swim. We hear a lot about the larger firms that did manage to adapt. But as Julian says, there are so many firms that were reliant on paper or just non-digitized ways of working that really struggled. But gradually over time, we've seen the majority of the legal sector, I would say, adapt to get their armbands on, if you like, find those things that they really need to keep delivering the service they want, whether it's DocuSign or virtual meetings. They've got to a place where they're relatively comfortable with functioning again as a result of the pandemic, using these new tools, and there is all that positive news story about accelerating digitization and such like. As far as the is concerned, my only concern is that how do we get firms to move away from what's necessary, to sort of take off the armbands? how do we move the legal sector from thinking about, okay, I need this technology or this innovation because it's in the actually looking beyond that to what technology is there, what innovation is there I can adopt that is just going to make things better rather than make it possible. And yeah, to draw the analogy to a close, it'll be getting people to take off the armbands and learn to swim properly by themselves, I suppose, and do slightly more exciting things. Apologies, I see my sound is not great, so do let me know if you're all struggling to hear me. But those are my thoughts.
Yeah. So the lesson for me is that next time I would have to invent more controversial questions, because all of you are agree. So I will keep it on mind. The next question regarding our conversation is somehow connected what Julian said about changing the culture. I would also say about changing the mindset of the lawyers, and also it is related to what Tomek said about the changing management, change management. All of you are working in the international environment. Do you see any differences between working, I don't know, with UK lawyers, Polish lawyers, Czech lawyers, or any other nations? And the second part of the question is, what are the let's say, what are the obstacles for the one hand, and what are the things that help to implement innovations and digital transformations in the organization? Tomek, as you mentioned about the change management, so please be the first answering the question.
Yeah, sure. I mean, as the first part of your question, so if I see the differences between, let's say, stage before the pandemic and what we have now, yeah, I see, as I mentioned, I see a huge progress here, and I also see this in a lawyer's mindset. I think that, you know, pandemic showed us that that we can use technology, that technology is not our enemy, but it can actually save our lives, so literally. So, you know, I see that clients are more, you know, curious about technology, lawyers are more curious, and because they use more often certain tools, they became more creative using them. So they have new ideas how to utilize this platform, what we can do using this certain algorithm, and how we, you know, how we can utilize the tools that we had for long time. The good example is what Agnieszka said about DocuSign. We had DocuSign for many years, but suddenly, you know, we all discovered it once again, because, you know, if you didn't sign documents using DocuSign because of the restriction, because of traveling restriction, you couldn't do this at all. So yeah, I think that there is a really great shift in mindset of the lawyers. And now moving to the second part of your question, so, you know, about these obstacles and what can, you know, let this change management easier. Well, I always advise people that I speak with to keep the change as simple as possible. So I many times see that lawyers, but not only lawyers, it's general tendency, are trying to solve too many things at once. And if you have flat tire, you don't replace your car, you don't replace your engine, you just replace your tire. And so if something doesn't work in your firm, you should concentrate, you should focus on this in particular element and try to fix it, try to do it better, and try to think about the process itself. So the technology, the legal technology, isn't our purpose, but we should rather think about bigger picture. So we should consider technology as one element that, you know, connects with other elements. So you should implementing, let's say, some platform or some fancy algorithm, you should think about how, what sort of input you need to feed this solution, and how what output it will produce, and how this affect the next stages in the process. So when your lawyers will need help, some technical support, you have to plan all of this, because if you don't, this is going to be your great obstacle. People will be confused, people will be unhappy with the result of the tool, and you're going to fail. So I hope this is the right answer for your question.
Thank you, Tomek. I think that you've told us a lot of tips, I would say. Julian, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's, lots of really good points from Tomek there. I think in respect to the question, I find it difficult to comment on the differences between lawyers in different countries, because I don't have so much experience of dealing internationally with lawyers. But in terms of how law firms get better at adopting new technology solutions, I think what I hear a lot in the UK is that there are new skills being brought into law firms, and I think roles like Tomek's role in the UK. So the legal project management is referred to a lot in the UK. I think really it's change management and project management, and it's about bringing in business capabilities to law firms that would exist by default in most other organisations, but the ability to take a task, to manage it through a process over a period of time, to add value, to build an organisation and manage an organisation beyond the fact of just dealing with legal matters for clients. So I think this increased, I don't want to say professionalisation because it doesn't seem the right word for the legal sector, but a sort of modernisation of working practices. In some of the more forward-thinking law firms in the UK now, they have management teams who are not all lawyers. They come from different business backgrounds, and they bring business competence to the way they run the organisation, whether that's operations or marketing or business development, whatever it is. They don't necessarily need to be lawyers, and so there's more of a distinction between the people who are giving legal advice and the people that are running the organisation, and acknowledgement that that's a different thing. To be a good lawyer, it doesn't mean you're a great CEO, for example. So I think there's a challenge there, and bringing innovation into the legal sector is difficult because of the transition from the way that the legal sector has been to the way that that many people would now acknowledge it should be. So yeah, I think I'm kind of coming back to my point earlier, really, around cultural change and the difficulties of cultural change. I think it applies to the modernisation of organisations as well as to the way that they adopt innovation.
I find very interesting your thoughts about new capabilities of the maybe not, yes, of course, of the lawyers, but also of other members of the team. Do you think that there will be they will appear new legal professions? How it is in the UK?
I think there's a lot of jobs being created in the legal sector that relate to technology and data, and the ability to manage data within law firms is becoming quite prominent. Quite a lot of the big law firms in the UK now are starting to hire data scientists. It's not a role that they would ever have recruited for in the past. So I think those positions are becoming more commonplace. I don't. Whether there'll be a new type of lawyer, I think maybe some of the legal tech firms are maybe making that step and trying to replace very specific niche areas of the legal services market with a more automated way of doing things. There are some changes to the way lawyers qualify in the UK now, and the way that you can become a lawyer, and that's, I guess it's becoming a little bit more accessible, that you don't necessarily have to have done a degree in law to become a lawyer. You can kind of you can create a different route to becoming a lawyer. So maybe just an evolution rather than a complete change.
Thank you. Maria, what are your thoughts about the subject?
Yeah, I think, I'm sorry, I've changed my settings now, so hopefully everyone can hear me.
Now it's far more better.
Excellent. Sorry about that. Yeah, Julian makes a really good point. I mean, we're now seeing some of the large law firms open up apprenticeships to go into law. So, completely bypassing that whole sort of legal education of a degree and everything else. And I think that's a really positive move, that mix of business and lawyer. We are stuck, I think, and this is an international problem, with the billable hour as being sort of the cornerstone to the legal services industry. And whether it sounds cynical or not, when you value lawyers for how long they spend on doing things, it's hard to at the same time try and get them to do it more quickly. And there's just that ever-present conflict until, puts a lot of pressure on the in-house counsel, I'm afraid, Agnieszka, but, until clients really demand it, lawyers will charge as long as they can for doing a job. And I'm sorry, that's my cynical view. But mirroring that is the lack of incentive to innovate. Why, if you're a 2-3 year PQE, you're going to get more credit for spending your time billing than you are for coming up with a snazzy new solution. So I think the more different ways of thinking we can build into the law firms, the better. I think that's a really positive move.
I think that the billable hour is the clue of the lack of innovation, because of course the partners, they prefer that the lawyer would bill the client than to work on innovations. Once when I was talking with one of the head of legal of one of the big companies here in Poland, he told me that for us, the head of legals, it is the most important that the work should be done in a shortest possible time, and for the law firm, it's the opposite. So I deeply believe that the innovations will come from the internal legal departments. Agnieszka, so many questions accumulated for you.
Yes, exactly. So maybe I will start with the last one. Because I think it's it's very interesting, technology connected with billable hours. I was also, a partner with many law firms, so I know exactly how the other side of the coin looks like. And I think that, we as general counsels, we are not ready to pay anymore for commodity type of work. That should be really automized, and I hoping that really even artificial intelligence should help with this type of work. And if the external lawyers will not do it for us, we'll do it internally, and we just will not need, external lawyers for this type of work. As to the other topics, I think what I've observed, because I actually work in international markets with different people from the west to the east and from the east to the west. So my observation was, first of all, generation, that really more senior lawyers had more problems to adapt to new reality. And we actually had to help them because for quite a long period of time, they felt that they can sit on papers and somehow there would be a secretary typing in, there would be someone assisting them with sending the documents, reviewing the documents, and etc. So I think for certain people, that was a big change. They had to learn, how to use Teams, how to use Zoom, and there was no other way. So we actually had some people helping them, with learning these new capabilities and actually plug in. We had workshops, we had trainings, and so I think it's really important factor because we still have quite a lot of senior lawyers with great minds, with great experience, and I think we need to use them, but they need to adjust to the new situation as well. Second point that I would like to make is bureaucracy. And I've seen bureaucracy in the West and I've seen bureaucracy in the East. And just to give you examples, for instance, European Patent Office was not open to the virtual hearings for months. And can you imagine what it is for, pharmaceutical company filing patents, oppositions, really business in this area was frozen for really a couple of months. And delays at the moment are 2 years. It's huge impact for the business, really huge. And we had to use different associations really to demonstrate to them what impact does it make, for new drugs, for, for getting medicines to the market. It's really big problem. The other area was in the east. For instance, in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, you still work on the papers, and not only on paper, but you need to have it in notarized form, and some of the documents you need to bring to the consulate for confirmation. Can you imagine how the situation looked like in lockdown? So really, we need to dig out notaries from the offices that they could stamp some of the documents. And we really had to queue and beg the ministries, Ministry of International Affairs, to actually give the stamps for us, because at the same time, delivery of products was on the way, or registration of products was on the way. So we couldn't just say, well, we'll think about it later. So these are just, 2 examples in 2 different countries. Yeah?
Thank you, Agnieszka. Unfortunately, we have the last question because the discussion is more and more interesting. I would like to zoom to the legal tech sector. What do you believe will be the future of this sector? I mean, is it a space for local players in the local markets, or maybe this sector will be the place where only the multinational players will be present? And the second part of the questions: what do you think? Which type of the tools will be more used, and which types of the tools will have now they have more chance to gain success? Mary, could you please start?
Absolutely. I think there will definitely always be a place for local law tech. One of the points I was making earlier during the speeches was the importance of, as a technology company, knowing your market. And there is something there about, there are differences in different markets, different jurisdictions in terms of whether it's culturally how they operate or just practically how they operate. And I think there's a real opportunity for local law techs to use that as an opportunity, really good service for local firms and the local legal sector. So I think they just need to take that opportunity. There's always going to be your behemoth techs, as there are across all different sectors. But I do think local law techs need to really just think about making the most of this. I would like to, in terms of where I'd like the vision to be, I say this in relation to fintech, law tech, insurtech, whatever it is. My beautiful vision in however many years is that you won't have the tech. You won't say, oh, you've got legal tech here and you've got legal services over here. It will all be one happy thing, family. You'll have a legal services sector that is simply technologically enabled, and you won't have to talk about them as these sort of separate and sometimes competing factions. And then finally, where do I think we're going to see the most success in legal tech? This point, partly in areas of comfort, familiarity. So perhaps products that are one step on from those that have been developed during the pandemic and that people are kind of used to. And really, it will be perhaps in some ways products that broaden from their current offering. You look at things that Microsoft are doing to trying to cater to the legal market. You've got very well-known companies and products that are expanding in this area. And I think where you've already got that familiarity and trust from the legal sector, they will be willing to expanded products.
Thank you. Julian, could you please compare somehow the legal tech sector with the fintech sector? I mean, the same question, if there will be a space for the local players or only for the multinational companies?
Yeah, so I think probably for me, it's probably less about local players, more about specialists. So I think if you're talking about small legal tech firms or big legal tech firms, I think there'll definitely be a place for the smaller guys. Whether they need to be local or not, I'm not so sure if that matters. Unless by local you mean any in one country, because the legal system's different in each country. If I think about legal tech and fintech, so I've been working in fintech for most of the last 10 years, and I remember the early days of the fintech startup community when we went through a phase of the fintech firms challenging the banks and being seen as having a better solution, but the banks were always the organizations with all the customers, and eventually we kind of arrived at a place where people were collaborating and the banks were working with the fintech companies rather than against them. In the legal sector, we kind of started the other way around, because most of the legal tech activity is firms that are working for the lawyers, and they're trying to engage with the lawyers. And I've seen some of the comments in the chat. It isn't just about the big law firms; it is about small law firms as well. You know, the smaller law firms have tech changes to go through, but a lot of the time, I think they do that with people like Microsoft 365, because there's a whole load of services that are available within Microsoft that mean that you can modernize a business without having to go and work with a specialist legal tech company. But if I look at what has made fintech work really well, what's made fintech grow exponentially, I think the more firms that we got, the more of an ecosystem was formed, the more that people were tackling similar challenges, the more that investors understood the market and were willing to back fintech businesses from an earlier stage because they had more of an idea of where they were going to go. And the more that the more opportunities were being opened up for fintech companies with big financial services partners. And so I think the legal sector needs to needs to go down a similar route, in that it can help open up the sector by creating more of an ecosystem that supports the growth of these organisations. And the Law Tech UK initiative is a good example in the UK. But also that the law firms need to adopt a more collaborative mindset, because the legal sector tends to be quite secretive and wants to keep things, firms prefer to keep things to themselves and not to share knowledge and insights. And I think that once the banks changed their mindset, that made a massive difference with fintech. And so I think that's something that the legal sector needs to adopt, is a more kind of open, collaborative mindset to the future.
I think that always it is a challenge to somehow to share thoughts between the lawyers. Not always, but I suppose that it could be one of the obstacles regarding implementation of the innovations. Agnieszka, what are your thoughts about the issue?
Well, I think that probably there are two perspectives, because for us, we would be looking, for such solutions that would be working in the environment of other solutions that the company is having as such. So, for instance, if you are having big Ariba implementation, any other legal solution regarding, for instance, agreements management or due diligence must work together with this, big Ariba program. So whether it's a local solution or whether it's international solution, that's the first criteria. Second, obviously, the price. So I think that there is a space, for both, and for the big players and local players, really depending of this additional value that each of them may bring, for the business.
Thank you, Agnieszka. Tomek, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think that local players, of course, have their competitive advantages. They are closer to the, to the law firms and locally, of course. But I also agree with what Julian said about, to distinct between being local and being small player. I think that it's gonna be tendency actually that mid-sized players will try to join their forces and to become bigger players, and that market will be dominated by the few big firms that will try to create an environment and ecosystems, and will let small firms to do some small tiny things in their ecosystems, like small improvements. If you see what's happening actually right now with Microsoft Teams today, you see that it's no longer only video conferencing tool, but you can also add some additional functionalities like forms, like Power BI plugins and so forth. So I expecting that in 3-5 years we will see a lot of such small functionalities that we'll see. We actually see it right now if we use Slack or Trello. You have a ecosystem you use, and you can buy a small tiny application that lets you synchronizing your Outlook with the Slack, or it allows you to export your boards to Excel from Trello. So I expecting that this will be happening also on legal tech. But I need to mention also that I feel that legal tech is somehow related to the future of legal tech. Is somehow related with the thing we will see in the law firms. So I believe that many law firms will follow, I know it won't be surprising for you, will follow the Clifford Chance path. So they will hire innovation managers, legal tech officers, or best delivery advisor like myself. But I think that this is crucial for legal tech industry, because if you want lawyers to implement new technology, or if you want IT experts within law firms to implement new technology, it's really difficult for you to be successful. You need to have you need to create a role of someone who will look at the processes, who will look at the way lawyers deliver their services, who will know a range of tools. Instead, my objective is not to sell one particular tool to my lawyers. My objective is to make our clients' life easier and our lawyers' life easier. So I know many tools. I can where and when to apply those tools to be successful. And I think that if we are talking about future of legal tech market, we have to also consider what law firms will do in the next years. We've seen this in the past. We've seen 15 years ago, like law firms hired marketing and PR experts. 10 years ago, business development experts. And I think that the same will happen with the innovation experts or best delivery experts like myself.
I hope that you are right. So unfortunately, our time passed. Do you have any final remarks, or would you like to add anything to what we've already thought? Okay. If not, once again, I would like to thank you for this panel. For me, it was very interesting. I hope that also it was very interesting for the participants. Now we can move Now we can move to the tables. Unfortunately, we won't be able to drink prosecco during the conversations. I mean, maybe somebody of you have in your desk the glass of wine or the glass of prosecco. The organizers will switch us right now to the mode networking mode. I would like to invite our participants first of all to talk with the legal tech startups that we've invited, but also to sit at the table of our partners. I mean the British Embassy, the Department of International Trade. We will have the Marisa Monteiro, the board member of the European Legal Tech Association table, and me myself, if somebody of you is interested about postgraduate studies, legal tech, and legal innovation. So I will be happy to talk with you. So thank you very much, and I hope that someday we will meet offline. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.